As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong, 1 in 36, think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on.
Okay, I am not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. Nothing like this. I just want to comment on something concerning autism. So recently, Donald Trump came out with information from the CDC that 1 in 36 American children are being diagnosed with autism, right? This number has spiked from decades ago where only 1 in 20,000 children were being diagnosed with autism. So I sent the short after doing my research. I'll put it up here in some AI. What AI summary, the summary AI gave, I'll put it here. Okay, so I sent it to all my friends and all that, and I'm like, yo, this is disturbing. This is something that might make people think twice about having children in the U.S., right? 1 in 36, those are crazy odds. A lot of people are like, this is crazy. I hope Robert F. Kennedy gets to the bottom of it. These were like the open-minded people. All my liberal friends came with the same narrative, the same defense of the narrative. Oh, it's because back in the day, they weren't testing for autism like that. When someone says something verbatim of what MSNBC says, scientists who are paid to fall on the liberal side of the narrative or the side of Big Pharma. I'm not going to say liberal, Big Pharma, right? This is a narrative that people are regurgitating or repeating. I want people to look at this from a common sense perspective. How does a child get tested for autism? I'll wait. Does a child go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, your kid is showing signs of autism. Let me test them. Rarely does a doctor look at your kid for 5 minutes and determine, hey, he needs to get tested for autism. Autism is tested because parents see things in their child that are worrying them. Then they take the child to the doctor and say, hey, something's not right with my kid. Can you please test him? The doctor says, okay, we're going to run some tests. Boom, bang, boom. Boom, your kid is autistic or your kid is fine. You're just overreacting. You are telling me that for decades, parents have been ignoring signs in their children that are disturbing so that the number of children who are being diagnosed with autism is only 1 in every 20,000. So that means we have thousands. At this point, it will be millions of people who are walking around with autism and they're undiagnosed. Now, I don't know if you've been around autistic people. This is a spectrum. Some people you could barely tell, but the vast majority of people, you see the signs. They don't develop the interpersonal skills. They don't possess them to interact in society normally, right? Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm no medical expert. I'm going just off of the layman explanation. Now, according to the CDC, 1 in 36 children in America are being diagnosed with autism. Is this because we are suddenly testing for it more? Or is it that now more parents are seeing the weird things, the disturbing behavior in their children that causes them to worry and take their children to the doctor and say, Hey, my kid's acting weird. Can you please run tests on my kid? Just to let me know if everything's okay. And then the kid comes back autistic, Asperger's, or not. The narrative that is being painted by Big Pharma in cahoots with the government, allegedly, doesn't make any sense, because a test for autism is something that is 9 times out of 10 initiated by or requested by the parent. Parents did not stop. Parents didn't just now start paying attention to their kid. Parents have always, since the beginning of time, paid attention to their children. If the child is exhibiting behavior that is concerning, like taking a long time to learn to talk, taking a long time to learn to walk, doesn't want to make eye contact, right? Nonverbal, hyper-focused on things that ordinarily a kid wouldn't even pay attention to, isolating themselves from everybody else, going into the room, hiding and playing on their own, or just sitting in there on their own. All these types of behaviors alarm parents. And whether you're talking about 1920 to 2025, if a parent sees their kid doing something that is basically unnatural or that is not characteristic of a young child, they're going to take their kid to the doctor and say, what's going on with my kid? So for them to say, oh, we just wasn't testing it, so we just didn't catch all these thousands of cases, that's BS. I'm not saying anything about why it's happening, but y'all know what we think is the reason it's happening. Y'all know that. We all understand that. I'm not saying why it's happening, though. All I'm saying is, how ridiculous are you as a person to regurgitate a narrative that makes no sense, try to do mental gymnastics to make it make sense, even though if you look at the world, you don't even need a scientific study. Where are all these millions of autistic people we missed? Because it's a spectrum. That's what they're going to say. Fine. All of them ain't so far up on the spectrum that they're just walking around unnoticed. There will be a significant portion of those kids. I would argue the vast majority of them would be obviously noticeably autistic. They would not be able to get jobs, support themselves. They would pretty much still be living with their parents. As someone who works with autistic people, they would pretty much be dependent on their parents and their family to support them. And even then, if they missed it, later on, as they get older, eventually, them being autistic would be noticed or suspected, and it would be diagnosed. Stop with the bullcrap numbers game. Or the bullcrap, we have more ways to test now than before. Because people have been getting diagnosed with autism for decades and decades, 50 years. But all of a sudden, oh, we missed millions. Where is this army of undiagnosed autistic people? That's my only question. Where is this army of undiagnosed autistic people? And if they were diagnosed autistic later on, they would still be factored in to the number of people that are being diagnosed as autistic overall, right? So when you think about the fact that the babies, the young children are being diagnosed, that only strengthens the argument against the corporate pharma deep state narrative of you know, the people who I would say allegedly profit from this situation. It would further weaken their argument. Because a baby can't get up and go to the doctor like, hey, test me to see what's wrong. A parent has to take a baby to be tested. A parent has to say things and say, hey, I'm noticing X, Y, Z. Why isn't he doing this? Or the doctor will have to wait until it's noticeable, because sometimes people just think something's going on and it ain't nothing. They're just tripping. From 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 36. We need answers, bruh. We need answers. And if you don't want the answers, you're just a coward. You're just a coward who's trying to convince yourself that something is not happening so that you don't have to be afraid of it. That's whack. It doesn't hurt you to learn the truth. It doesn't hurt anyone to investigate what the hell's going on. I don't understand why these people are so quick to jump on a narrative that was literally introduced by companies that profit from this stuff. Thank you for watching this. Hopefully my channel doesn't get banned eternally. Till the next time, peace.